Hi, everybody. Welcome to the SkinArtJ YouTube channel. My name is Alana, and here's Jay. She is a tattoo artist with the Top Tattoo Studio in Edmonton. And what type of tattoos do you specialize in?
I really like to focus in on geometric and neo-traditional, but I do like to play with a variety of different styles because it keeps things interesting.
Excellent. So what is neo-traditional?
So neo-traditional, the way that I understand it is, if you're going back into art terms, it's playing with the different line weights to create different closeness or distance with your subject matter. To then, it also can have different styles mashed in. So like if you want to go into more realism, you can start playing with that within neo-traditional. In less eloquent terms, basically traditional on crack. So you're taking fundamentals from traditional where you want those bold, strong lines and you want things nice and saturated and stuff, but it's giving it more freedom to be able to have more detail and a lot more complexity than what a traditional tattoo would have. You're focusing more now on more art skill sets of perspective. You're looking at doing different tones. You're looking at different gradients and blending. So it just really depends on how you want to approach the neo-traditional. Wow. So to me, that's how I look at it. And then otherwise, like subject matters are still very common to similar with traditional, but it does elaborate or expand on that. I do follow into some of that where I've been really enjoying lady heads. I love doing different things with animals, and then playing with other realms of it, of example, doing a hand or anatomy and stuff.
Excellent. And geometric style, is that just kind of exactly how it sounds? A lot of shapes, a lot of symmetry?
Geometric very much is similar in that stance. I take inspiration a lot from like frequencies and once again, nature of how everything's a pattern in our world. So I like to take inspiration from that and play and create my own geometric that I haven't seen necessarily with other artists. You can do the very common ones that are well known. So you got the circle of life and the seed of life kind of thing. And that is going to provide you a very straightforward like image that many do know. To then playing with geometric in another sense where I like creating it and seeing what kind of designs I can pull from things. So it's playing into the traditional sense of what geometrics could be with the cubes and how they stack and doing the perspective in that sense, to then, as you mentioned, very symmetrical, very balanced with mirroring on both sides of the image. And then even with that, playing with that and creating that distortion and taking certain pieces from, say, a geometric piece and adding it into other elements to create unique designs that stand out.
I love that. Thanks for the explanation.
Thanks.
And those are sort of your favorite types to tattoo?
It very much entices my brain. It gives it a lot to work with.
Excellent. Thanks so much for that description. We're talking today about the client experience at SkinArtJ. And the first thing I wanted to touch on, Jay, is how important is it to get tattooed in a calming environment?
I very much think it is of high importance to have a calming, soothing environment, because you are putting a person under a needle, which is no matter what, uncomfortable. To also, it helps a person's nervous system relax more, so then they're able to sit better through the process. So I think it plays quite a significant role where people can be more at ease, and the more that they feel safe, the more they feel calm, the better the experience is going to be.
Excellent. And what all plays into that calming environment? Is it just having like not a lot of chatter? Does it have like soothing music playing? What does that calming environment look like?
So for myself, my music goes everywhere. I try to let people know ahead of time during their session that like there's something that really doesn't work well for them, that really aggravates them. Let me know, because my music will fluctuate. The music is a crucial factor, I think, to also having it where conversation is very much a huge matter of how a person's going to feel comfortable in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
For where I'm at currently, I'm in an open space, so it is more open to the public. It is more everyone's involved in the conversation. It's not just one-on-one where it's just us in the room. So it does greatly impact people based on what we're talking about. Just like anything, there's pros and cons to that. You can have people share their own stories where it can get very personal. That I have no problem with. I just try to be very mindful that not everyone is receptive or comfortable with that. So it's just being aware of the surroundings and the company of that day and how they like to best receive their tattoo. So sometimes we do have moments that it's a nice silent session. We're just sitting there listening to the music while going through the tattoo. And if that's what helps a person get through it and that's something that's calming for them, I encourage it. Or if they do like, as we call it, a distraction of the chatter and letting us have a discussion about whatever they want to talk about, then that's also open. If something really isn't on the table for discussion, I will simply redirect it and just be like, oh, well, we should talk about this at a different point. Like, in my opinion, plays a huge role for making a calm session. Another part is wanting to make sure that the person that I'm engaging with is taken care of from the time that they get through, like come show up, and the time that they're leaving. I want to make sure that their body is supported the best that it can. So even with that, there can be a lot of laughter, which is amazing. Laughter is great for the system. Highly encourage it. To other calming things of, I will encourage someone bringing their own personal belongings, such as a blanket, or if they have a teddy that they want to squish through the session, or if they want to bring a book so that they have other means to distract themselves. Those are all helpful things to make the session a lot more comfortable for them. Other ways that I believe that's calming is making sure that the communication is very clear of what to expect and what is happening during the process.
Right.
So that if a person has a question at any point about what we're doing or why something is happening, I want them to be comfortable to bring it up so that I can express or explain where I'm at and what's expected to unfold next. If there isn't that questioning or confidence in the individual to speak for themselves, I will try my best to tune in and make sure that they do still feel comfortable, and I still will walk through what I'm doing so that they know. So example, if I'm having to deglove and take a quick break to, example, grab ink and stuff, I still let them know like, hey, I just got to stop here and now I got to grab something. So the whole process, I'm working to communicate as effectively and efficiently to let them know what's happening, so nothing's a surprise.
Nice. And do you let the client know that their comfort level is sort of up to them as well, that they should bring like a blanket or a pillow or books? I imagine some people might want to have earphones or headphones, especially if it's a little bit of a boisterous environment, to ensure their comfort level.
Very much. I do, while I'm making the booking with someone, suggest to them that if there is something that is going to make them more comfortable and feel more at ease while they're getting this, that please do bring it and feel free to. Like, we want you to have the best experience possible. So it's something that I strongly encourage for people.
Nice.
If they don't have anything and they've come, say, to get a sensitive spot that they're not feeling comfortable in an open concept, I will still try my best to make sure that they're as comfortable as possible, where I'll provide, example, a bed sheet to cover them more as kind of like a blanket, just so that they can feel less exposed.
Great. And what does the client need to do before coming in to ensure that their experience is a good one? Should they get rest? Should they eat a meal? Should they not eat a meal? What's the best protocol for a client to do before coming in for a tattoo to ensure they have a good experience?
So there's a few factors that I try to reiterate to people to make sure that they are prepared to have the most successful, most comfortable experience. Making sure that they're well rested is a big one. So it's not straining more on their body. Make sure that they're feeding themselves so that they have the nutrition to get through that session, because more often than not, people will be leaving hungry after the session. It takes a lot out of the body. To also making sure that they're hydrated, bringing liquids with them. We will have some available to people for the session to make sure that we, if for whatever reason, have someone that is starting to get lightheaded or not feel great during the process, that we can provide sugar for their nervous system. But otherwise, it's advised that they bring stuff, especially if it's a longer session, bring food with them, eat before that session, bring drinks, bring things that are going to help stabilize their body better while we get through the tattooing. And then even with that, making sure they're bringing comfy clothes. There has been some instances where I have tried to let people know that we want loose fitting clothing or clothing that is going to be able to assist us with the area that they're looking to get tattooed. Not always is it remembered. So sorry, not sorry. If you're bringing a white shirt to something and it's in an area that we are contacting with the blood, I will do my best to not get that shirt dirty, but there is no guarantee.
Right. That's important to note. Wearing comfortable clothes, having a good night's sleep, eating, but also you are traumatizing the skin. You're opening a wound, basically. People are going to have adrenaline. They're going to have endorphins. And people may not know exactly how they're going to react, even if they've had a tattoo before. Yeah. It's a particularly long tattoo, and they might get low blood sugar as their body is dealing with the surge of all of these different chemicals through their system.
Very much so. And you never know exactly what's going to happen through that session because your body responds differently every time. I've had people that are extremely confident saying they've never gotten lightheaded and they're fine and they're going to be great. And then the next thing you know, they're experiencing for the first time that they're getting lightheaded and their nervous system saying like, Mayday, we are going down. Right. And so I've also experienced it in my own tattoos where you can eat, you can prep your body, but sometimes it still happens. And it's just honoring what the body's telling us. If the body is saying like, hey, we're a little shocked right now, you honor it. So there is a lot of chemicals that a person's going to experience through the dump of, as you mentioned, the traumatizing of the skin. We are doing our best to do the least amount of trauma to the skin while we're applying our practices, though it still is an altercating experience where the body is still receiving it as, per se, a threat, that it is undergoing something that is uncomfortable.
Great. So it's good for clients to know that they should be bringing snacks and food and that they can take breaks as they need, especially as they get that flood of endorphins or adrenaline in their system.
Very much so. I do encourage if a person needs to take a break to let me know. I have no problems taking breaks. That being stated, I like to keep it within reason. Washroom breaks and everything, absolutely, your body's still telling you it needs to do something. But if we're taking, example, an hour-long break because someone just wants to go eat and like take their sweet time and stuff, that is still part of their session. That is still considered part of the whole, being that my intention and my whole purpose is getting to that tattoo. If they want to spend their tattoo time doing other things, that is their choice, though there is still that communication that like small breaks, not a problem. If you're taking the longer breaks, you are paying for that time. Like if that's how you'd like to spend your time, that's okay, though it's still going to be considered part of your session.
Good to know. And that's important to let the client know at the outset. I'm sure the longer a tattoo is, the more willing a client is to have smaller breaks throughout the session, 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there, just to recoup. I think anyone would be happy paying for that.
Yeah.
A good tattoo artist will engage with the client. So how do you do that in your practice, Jay?
So the way that I try to engage, which I'm not always, perfect. That's never my end goal, but I try to follow through from the first point that I'm communicating with the client and I'm setting up a consultation with them and communicating through social medias or through text message or whichever way to let them know that this is what to expect. We're going to ideally set up a consultation because I like to see people in person. It does help me greatly gauge how they want their tattoo to go. And it does allow me to have that in-person experience with them. That being stated, if there is other ways that I need to approach it, where if I need to do an online consultation because they drive for 5 hours to come into the city, that's also an option. We then follow it through with communication of text messages, documenting and telling them, this is your appointment time, this is where you show up, this is how much your deposit was, this is what to expect with the deposit, and the outline of the rules of what can, per se, sacrifice or forfeit your deposit if certain circumstances arise. To then, from there, making sure that they show up for the session. Once they're at the session, get them squared away with some paperwork and have that dealt with. Then making sure that they're automatically comfortable to begin with, that they have any liquids that they would like moving forwards so that we can get the ball rolling, whether it be water or some pop. And then starting the session and getting into the stencil. Sometimes we're further along in the process and the stencil isn't required at that stage anymore. To then, as I mentioned before, going through of what I'm doing, whether I'm grabbing the material to set up the session itself, to then how I need them to position themselves for the body, for the area that we're accessing, to then communication with if there is breaks and stuff. And then once we're at the end, going through the aftercare, making sure that they are clear on it. And even if I've tattooed them before, I still like to ask them if they would like a reminder or if they would like me to repeat what I have said before with how to take care of something, because sometimes I have had clients come in and tell me that they had a great healing aftercare, though they didn't quite follow the process, which it's not the end of the world, though it is valuable information and feedback for myself to understand what steps were taken with it so that I can be informed if there is something that comes up and be able to evaluate the tattoo itself and why it might sit a certain way. For instance, I had a touch-up the other day and we had communicated also after the tattoo, as I strongly encourage that if there is questions or if there's any concerns, do reach out. Don't sit on it. Just let me know. She had complications with the second skin and the healing didn't go as smoothly as we both wanted. So at that point, I would like to follow the communication through the whole process, go through the aftercare. I follow up even after that, letting them know what was their session, how long it took, what their charge was for the day, and letting them know of what the policies are for coming in through touch-ups, and giving them a photo of what I've taken from their session, so that also shows the different stages that we have gone through with their tattoo, to then following up if there is further communication required about their tattoo, and also asking people to ideally send me their tattoos out in the wild and how they've healed. I do prefer that people come in still to be able to see their tattoo in person, as it's still very challenging to see fully how it properly has healed through a photo rather than seeing it in person.
Right. And is that something that you send them with a written copy of how to take care of their tattoo? I know, speaking from experience, people have the endorphins, they have, all of the adrenaline going through their system, and their memories may not be fantastic at remembering aftercare instructions. Is that something that you do as a courtesy? Send them the aftercare instructions in a written email or a text?
I haven't set up anything about the aftercare process of what to expect. I likely will be adding that to my website so that people can find it nice and easily. But I also have stated to people, send me a text message. I have no problem texting it and putting it in step form of what to expect when going home with the tattoo. Because I understand that sometimes your body is taxed and your brain is checked out. It does not want any more to deal with.
Nice.
So I have no problem if someone sends me a text and being like, can you remind me? More than happy to.
That's the level of communication you're very comfortable with your clients?
Yeah.
Excellent. And you had talked about the whole process from booking the consultation, seeing them in person if possible. At what stage, if they're getting custom artwork, do they see that artwork typically?
I have shifted a bit now that I will do 3 days prior to their session. If they do want to set up an in-person meet to come see the artwork. But now I am leaning more into in-person day of. Just for what I've experienced through the time is I didn't used to agree, but now I understand a different perspective of it, where people can sit on something and nitpick and try to get other opinions that aren't necessarily professional about their artwork. And then they try to change small little tweaks of adding a certain color because Nanny said that she likes this one better instead. And now it's changing the whole design again. So I've leaned away from sending people their images prior to it, just for the fact that I want it to be just me and them making the decisions. I do not want extra input on something that does not impact another person.
Right.
So more or less, it's the 3 days prior or in person.
That's good to note. People are coming to you because you are the expert in this industry, and what you've chosen to do is not just a pretty picture, but it's a design that has taken into consideration their body and the placement and what is going to be happening with that body part over time. It's not just like, oh, this is a pretty picture I want on my body. You've put a lot of effort into making sure it's the right tattoo for them.
Very much so. I have had some people that have tried to tell me how they are going to have it placed on their body. I do want input on what they think for their body, but when someone tries to then fill my role and try to state how they're going to have it flow on their body completely, I don't agree with that. And at that point, if they think they know better and they think that they have superior knowledge, I welcome them to find something that is more aligned with what they're seeking, because I can't work with someone that wants it specifically, just every detail down to even placement of exactly what they're going to go for. This is a collaborative experience, and it is something that I'm going to do my best to advise the best pieces that I can potentially make for them to fit their body the nicest, to really emphasize and really make that design be a wow piece, because they are spending a nice amount for something that is going to be relatively permanent on their skin.
I love that. I know, speaking from my experience, having been tattooed by you, I came in for this beautiful little flash piece. And once I got there, you said it needs to change. We need to make it fit your body. It went from this, cute little piece to a big statement piece that actually fits my body in a way that I never thought it would fit. And I really love that process of, no, this is what I think, Alana, you need to go bigger. We need to put it here. And that's the expertise that I'm expecting from a premium experience getting a custom tattoo.
Which is greatly appreciated that people are willing and wanting that kind of input. Because as you mentioned, we started with a piece and it just wouldn't have done it justice or your body justice to put something on there. Like, it would have made it per se more of a patchwork sleeve. And that wasn't the aims that we were going for. We want to flow and make it as nice on your body as possible, to then also for the amount of detail that was in it and for the statement that we're trying to make. Going too small does not necessarily make something better.
That's great. And I love that you're willing to talk to people and say, this is what would work best for your body. This is what I'm envisioning because it works with your body. And again, I think that's why people go to a tattoo expert such as yourself.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. We wanted to talk about as well, should you be scheduling a long session or a short tattoo session? Can you discuss that process with me? How do you go about choosing the length of session?
So the length of session really is determined by a few different factors. One is the artwork itself and what is needed to at least get line work in on, say, something that's bigger versus something smaller. I will break it down where if a person has a certain threshold that they know that they can't go further, I will let them know this is what we need to expect moving forwards of just the start and what we need to get through. And then if they are wanting to or capable, we will move on to the next part of the session, which is usually shading and coloring or black and gray. To then, if a person also has like a lower pain tolerance where they know that their cap limit is 2 hours, I have no problem with that. As long as we get the base groundwork started for everything so that when we continue the process, we have something to go to and it's already ready for us.
And what about a longer session? If you have a client that's like, I'm ready to sit all day, I know I can handle it. Is that something that you're willing to entertain, or is that something that you might say, you know what, I'm going to cap it for various reasons?
I definitely like doing the longer sessions. I have no problem with those. Few factors there. Once again, depending on how a person is going about the session and what their skin is telling us while we're doing it, that could end things a little bit short if their skin is just not having it that day for whatever reason. For instance, I have seen with a different coworker, they started a tattoo and they were going about the process, and the client they applied numbing cream to the area and they came in, and within 5-10 minutes of them tattooing, their body was having a very unusual reaction to it.
Oh.
So to be on the safe side and make sure that their skin is not getting chewed up or traumatized or that there's anything else happening, the session stopped and they were booked for quite some time. And it was advised that, no, we need to stop and we'll come back at this at another point. But your body's saying like, it's not liking what's happening. So there is points that sessions will stop if the the body's just indicating to us that it's not having it. Otherwise, I do all day sessions. So that starts from 11:30 till 7. That's where I will start advising people, bring a lot of comfy stuff, bring your food, bring everything that's going to sustain you, because we're going to get comfy and we're going to be there for a bit. So both very much work. It just depends on the experience that the client is open to and what they're willing to do.
Great. And you're not too shy to say, you know what, your skin is not having it for whatever reason. We're going to cut this short today.
Oh, not a problem. Like another instance, which I don't usually have, but if I'm not feeling good for whatever reason and stuff, and I'm not in the best headspace to be able to produce the top quality that I want for them, I will also create a shorter session just to make sure that they're getting the best that they can possibly get from me.
Excellent. That's great to know. So if you want a longer session or a shorter session, just let Jay know what you're looking for. Another thing that I wanted to discuss with you today is a lot of people are coming in to get a tattoo because they want to memorialize something, tell a story. And how does the tattoo artist's role factor into creating that story for them?
So I will commonly try to understand where a person's coming from and why they want to get the tattoo that they want to get and what's inspired it. People have many different reasons. Some people just want something that is spontaneous in the moment and want the experience and want to have that fun. Other people want it to be a lot more sentimental and they want a memorial piece or something that is a lot more personal to them. I'm completely happy to do both. It does not impact me in the same stance that I've heard with some people that they prefer other things. I enjoy hearing the different reasonings for people wanting new ink. To also, if the tattoo is something that is a lot more meaningful. Example, I had a consultation with a lovely gal that she wanted to do both sides of her sleeves, and it was to capture the growth of her life and to capture also her little ones that she has and a bit of their personalities. And we were using flowers as symbolism for it.
Nice.
And she had one of her little ones transition and is in the midst of having a different, I believe the correct term is prefix. And so with that taken into consideration about why they are wanting that, it impacts the artwork in how we can symbolically show up and design something to capture that essence without it being right in their face of like, per se, writing out a list of names on them and stuff. So it's more resonating to them with being able to capture those key elements and how they want to showcase it. So with that, it was a suggested moment of, well, we can do a certain flower, but instead of having it super detailed, it's going to be more in the background and we're going to do it a lot more softer, and it's not going to necessarily have all the elements and stuff because it's now going to be incorporated in the other new one that is also going to tie it in together to represent that transition and that old to new.
Nice. I love that. And I know we've talked in the past before about how you're not really excited to do like a list of names or dates on a person's body. You're coming in to get some beautiful artwork to look gorgeous on your body. You can come up with different ways to symbolize those names and dates without having to just have a list of text. That's not always going to look the best on a person's body.
Very much so. When people want to start doing memorial tattoos and they want to start adding all the names, all the dates, I strongly advise that they don't do that because the whole point of the piece is to be a statement piece. Soon as you start adding script in there, it starts trying to compete with what our subject matter is. And with that, script does have to be a certain size to be able to be legible. And soon as you start adding more elements like that in there, as I like to tell people, you are looking to add something to your body to which you already know why or what it's supposed to represent. You don't need the extra dates and everything else in there to represent it for you. You know what the piece is. You know what the meaning is. And also, if they choose that they don't want to share that story with other people, they now have the opportunity, if it's not in there, to be like, yeah, I just have a nice piece and leave it at that. Where as soon as people start seeing dates, names and stuff, people are less intrigued to actually look at your tattoo and ask you questions about it and actually see it. It's not going to flow the nicest. And along with that, you're not going to get the best art piece that you possibly can. You see that in paintings, you see it in prints and stuff where sometimes you'll have the artist take a small corner and put their signature. But some people, as I will try to best reiterate it, that's like trying to put that signature right dab in the middle of your beautiful painting and having it right there. Mm-hmm. You're no longer looking at the painting. You're like, oh, there's something obstructing from the image.
Right.
So I do not want to be incorporating a whole bunch of script and a whole bunch of dates into it. Now, if the piece calls for, like, example, there's a style known as trash polka where there is words and stuff incorporated, but it's intentional. It is for the art design itself. That's a different case. So it's very much that it's not that I won't do script. It's if we're going to be doing script, let's make it fit to a certain style so that we can. And even with that, I don't want to be doing a list of your family members' names. You're not a chalkboard. You don't need everyone's names on you to remember who they are.
Right. And the expression goes, a picture's worth 1,000 words. This is the medium where it's for pictures.
Yeah.
And when you go to a museum, you tend to see paintings with pictures and not a lot of paintings with text.
Very much so. Example, I went to Banksy not long ago. You know, it's a Banksy piece because of the stylization that he does with his own artwork. But once again, you don't see him slapping his name across every piece and being like, hey, I need my name in there. So, like, I also view it the very similar where it's, I'm making art for you. It's meant to flow on your body. It's there to be a statement piece. Let's make it a statement piece and not add the chalkboard in with it.
Excellent. I love that. And again, that's the type of expert consultation that you will get when you come to a tattoo artist. That's at the high caliber that SkinArtJ is at. I love the fact that you bring that expertise to the table when people come see you.
Well, thank you. I try to do my best to express to people why I would love to do it in another way. Some people are very open to the concept and very understanding of why I suggested to do other ways. Some people are very adamant that they need that script and stuff in there. And even at that, I'm willing to put the script on you, but just not with a piece.
Sounds great. Well, thank you so much for all of the expert points and everything that you brought to the table today. If you are interested in getting a tattoo from SkinArtJ, all you have to do is reach out to her website. What's the website?
It's SkinArtJTattoos.com.
Excellent. Or you can reach out through text. I believe it's text only that you prefer.
I do many of the bookings and everything through my text as it does document everything. So the best is to reach me through text as I try to let people know. So it's 780-722-2023.
Excellent. And you can also find SkinArtJ on Instagram. And I believe that's at SkinArtJ.
Yep. Just nice, simple SkinArtJ.
Perfect. You can see her flash galleries as well as finished pieces, and see if this is the style of art that speaks to you.
Well, thank you for having me, Alana.
Yeah. Thanks so much for tuning in to the SkinArtJ Tattoo YouTube channel. Please hit like. If you have any comments, drop them below and we'll address it in a future video. And of course, subscribe so you can get the newest video delivered right to you.